Howdy Sketchies, it's Megan of Hello North, and today we're going to have a sketchy talk, and we're going to be talking about charity and how to do it right. But first, let me kind of go over what I'm doing in this video. I am acrylic painting on a pine wood panel. I have been doing this a lot lately. I really love painting on the wood panels because I like the texture. I like being able to use the color of the wood to my advantage. I'm really enjoying it. And today I drew a sketch and I really liked how it turned out, so I went back onto the wood panel and I used a Prismacolor Colorase pencil in rose. I really like how the color works with pretty much any medium that I use, and now we're just going back and we're painting it in. So let's get on to the sketchy talk. We're going to be talking about charity today, mainly because me personally, I do a lot of charity, and I see a lot of times where artists, we kind of get shafted on a lot of charity. So I thought I'd kind of share my experience, kind of how I would go about doing that, and some different things that I have kind of discovered that I feel like that is how you should do charity when it comes to art and artists. So first off, let's talk about what is charity. Well, charity is pretty much you give your time or you give some sort of financial monetary value to an organization. Here in the US, which is where primarily I'm going to be talking about, an organization that has a charity standing has to fill out a application for a 501c, which basically states that they are a non-profit organization with the government. That gives them the ability that when anybody donates to them, they can write it off in taxes, that the person who donated can write it off in taxes. And normally it gives them a very above all the rest kind of standing. You have to maintain that standing. So, if they screw up, they lose that. And it's not a good thing. I have seen some charities where they have just blown the cover. They were embezzling money and that sort of thing. I'm not going to say which ones. But, you have, when charities kind of look at that, they're having to fulfill a very strict guideline to be called a charity. Now, there's international charities, there's huge charities, and then there's local charities. A lot of international ones, they have to appease the different governments that they have stations or centers in, and then you have large charities here in the US like St. Jude's Children's Hospital and Susan B. Komen, and there's just so many different types of charities. My personal thing is find a charity that is local. They can do more with less. So when you're looking at maybe possibly doing some charity work as an artist, maybe look at something like a local charity, because you can see the immediate effects of what you have donated, the time, the effort, the monetary value, and they can do so much. Not saying or trying to take money away from larger organizations, but really do your research before you donate, whether you're an artist or just a good old-fashioned not artist. So how do artists get screwed, Megan? You said that a lot of artists get shafted when it comes to charity. Well, here in the US, we kind of do. So let's take, for example, two different businesses. You've got one who is a freelance illustrator or artist, such as just a regular artist, and then you've got a small business, let's say a cake business. So you have a charity approach both of those people, and they say, hey, can you donate something to a silent auction or something to a sale that we're doing to raise money for our charity? Both parties say yes. So the cake small business donates some cakes. That's what they're going to donate. And then the artist donates a couple paintings. And then the charity sells them, and everybody has donated to the charity, and the charity has now gotten their money back. The small business that had the cakes, can go at the end of the year when they're doing their taxes, they can write off all of the cakes that they donated to the charity because the cakes had a monetary value. Now, the artist, on the other hand, cannot write off the painting or the artwork that they submitted to the charity. Why? Because supposedly, according to the tax laws, art has a subjective monetary value. What is 300 to one person might be $50 to the other, regardless of how much time, effort, or experience went into that painting. So that means that the artist cannot write off what was made off of that artwork, even if that artwork sold for thousands of dollars. They can't write off, oh, well, that artwork sold for thousands of dollars. That's how much I donated to the organization. That's how much I'm going to write off. We can't do that. The only thing that the IRS allows us to write off is the cost of the materials. That's it. And you actually have to prove the cost of the materials, so you have to keep the receipt. So you can't be like, well, I spent $100 on paint, when in actuality you spent, $40. You have to keep the receipts. You have to prove it. Whereas the small business cake owner, they don't have to, show that their cakes are less than what they sell them for. So that's where artists really get screwed, is from the tax deduction. And that's what a lot of people donate to charities for, is for that tax deduction. Now, another way a lot of artists get shafted with charities is most charities, they know this. They know that you cannot write off your product, which is your art, your photography. So they won't really compensate for the loss of your profits or the loss of your wages. So most of them, they won't work with like, oh, well, we'll do like 50% of the winning bid or the final paying price on the artwork. We won't buy it off of you and then sell it. And sadly, a lot of charities go after artists because it's that wow factor. I mean, yeah, sure, like cakes and floral arrangements and maybe some t-shirts and stuff, that looks cool on a wall or in the pamphlet of what they're selling, but artwork is a really big audience draw. So it a lot of charities, and I'm not saying all of them because I do know that there are some out there that are fantastic, they don't really see an artist as somebody who, they've got bills, they've got food they gotta buy, they've got rent to pay, they've got a mortgage to pay. So they just kind of go, oh, well, it's tax write-off, and they don't really know that we can't tax write-off. So, I mean, some of it is just they don't really understand how it works. The charities don't. And then sometimes they don't really want to compensate for the time and effort and the materials that you have put into the painting. So let me reiterate, not all charities and organizations do this, but a good portion of them do this. And a lot of them, sadly, really target a lot of up-and-coming artists and young artists because we quote-unquote, don't really know that. And I went through my share of thinking the same thing, like, oh, I can write it off in taxes and this and that, and believing everything that the charity said, and then find out that I basically gave them free artwork. And it really stinks, but it was a lesson learned. And I'm hoping maybe that will help someone else out. Now, here's the part where this is on you now. What can a young artist or even an experienced artist do with this knowledge? That not all charities are out to get you, but a lot of charities kind of take advantage of artists. What do you look for? Well, there's a couple things that I would highly suggest taking a look at. First, when a charity or a nonprofit organization or anything like that contacts you, like a school or something, and says, hey, we're holding a silent auction, we're holding a gallery, we'd really like to have some of your artwork. What do you say? You can fire back and say, hey, well, I would really like to do this after you've done your research. Never donate to a charity that you don't feel comfortable with. And say something along the lines, how about I sell you some of my artwork at a discounted price, and then you start the price at that, and then anything that you make over that is that's how much is yours. I mean, because then legally they own the artwork and you still get something out of it. Most charities sadly won't go for that, and if they do totally jump on it, that means that they want to harbor a really good relationship with you, possibly work with you in the future. So always float that option first. The next option you could float is, well, and this one works a lot better in silent auctions, I found, along the lines of, well, how about the final winning bid, I get a percentage of that back. That means that I'm paying the artist, make sure that the person who won the artwork, they have my name, so that way, my name and my business information, so that way if they want to commission something from me in the future, that could be in the information. If the charity wants to do that and they say, yes, we'll totally do that for you, that's a good charity, they're willing to work with you. If they don't, that means that they're not going to work with you. They're really searching for, well, we want 100% of the profits made from your artwork. We want this to be like a donation on good faith. So, I mean, those are a couple options. There are some other things that you can kind of maneuver, but I have found that if a charity is not wanting to do either of those two things, that means that they just want you to donate some artwork free of charge. You're not going to be getting anything, and you're not going to be tax deductible either. So in the end, they got some free stuff and you got shafted. So, I mean, try floating those two things. Now, with that being said, a lot of artists now, because you want to do charity work, you want to devote yourself to some greater good. I mean, most people, I would say, want to do that. A lot of artists now are starting to band together, and they're taking on the IRS. They're trying to get those tax codes kind of rewritten to, benefit both parties. And they're also kind of putting together their own events where, everybody gets a little piece of the pie, which is really great. One such event, which is here in New Mexico, I've been to a couple of them, I really enjoy them, is something called Art Fight. And I'll put a link down below for their Facebook page, just in case you're either in New Mexico or you're visiting New Mexico. Definitely go check out one of these events. They're fantastic. Basically, they will set up a venue, and it's normally a place where you can get alcohol, so fair warning. So a lot of them are going to be bars and whatnot. They have artists come in, they pay an entry fee because they view it as a competition, and you paint, you draw, you sculpt, you do your artwork live. So you're actually surrounded by like 4 to almost 20 artists who are in the venue doing live artwork. It's really cool. So that means that potential clients and your attendees to the venue are actually seeing you do artwork, which is really awesome. And they can interact with you and they can talk with you. Now, the whole charity bit that comes in is the venue will be selling drinks, hence mostly a bar. Every time that you get a drink or something that's on the menu, they give you a ticket. You get to go vote for your favorite artist. The money made from that night from the venue, normally a portion of it goes towards charity. A portion of the entry fee as an artist also goes to that charity. And so that means that charity, they're getting money. Artists, we're getting a vote to win the competition, and we're having the possibility of getting clients. And at the end of the night, they announce the winner. The winner gets a portion of the proceeds to, thank you, like as a winner's thing. And then normally afterwards, they do an art auction where the artist can auction off their art to the people, and the artist has the choice of pocketing all that money, or they can donate whatever they want to the charity. So, I mean, it's a win-win. I've been to a couple of them. I've met some amazing artists and some amazing people, And we've done some amazing charity work, and like everybody feels good about it at the end of the night. Nobody feels like somebody got screwed out. So I really like events like that. Like I said, link down below so you can see some of the amazing stuff that Art Fight has been doing. And if you're in New Mexico and you see that there's one near you, go check it out. It is awesome. I love it. So there's a couple different ways that you can go about charity and how charity can be done right when you're an artist. Because like I said, a lot of people they use and abuse us artists, because I mean, we do have a wow factor product that we produce. I mean, nothing looks more cool than a beautiful piece of artwork compared to like, oh, we donated a whole bunch of t-shirts or something like that. I mean, when you produce a piece of artwork, your soul goes into it, and a lot of charities and organizations know that. It's that wow factor. So if a charity does come to you, don't take it, primarily as an insult, because they obviously think that you're pretty dadgum awesome. But you do need to be smart on how you kind of go about conducting business with them, because you do want to get compensated for the work that you do, because they're basically doing like a commission. They're like a client. You definitely want to make sure that you're getting something out of it and they are getting something out of it. Now, if you want to donate 100% of your proceeds that you have made off your artwork to a said organization, more power to you. I have only one organization that I do that with, that with the drop of the hat, I will donate 100% of the proceeds that I've made off of an art piece towards that organization. That's something that you have to feel in your heart. So, charities, they're not always out to get you, but you definitely want to protect yourself as an artist, because you gotta eat too. So I hope you enjoyed this little sketchy talk. I hope you enjoyed this piece. I really love how she turned out. She is going to be on my Story Envy page up for sale. I've got prints of her ready, so be sure to check all that out. Thank you to all my Patreons who helped funded this. I'm so excited to see what July brings. If you want to see more videos like this, comment down below. And until next time, guys, keep on sketching.